Welcome back everyone to another chapter review of Chainsaw Man, and today we're going to be covering chapter 133, which is going to be titled Barf, Head, and Perv. A lot of people, this chapter kind of felt a little sad for me, or just made me remember of some character's death, which I actually did care for. Everyone else's death, I was like, okay, damn, that's sad, but then there was actually one character that stuck with me that I actually felt sad for, but we're gonna get into that, and we're not going to be having a face cam for this video just because I was covering a quinceañera, and I used up all my SD cards, so there's going to be a message on screen saying no memory card, so I just decided to not do a face cam for this video. In this chapter, we're going to be covering off from last week's chapter where we saw Aki in power, and then I'm wondering on what Denji was saying, because he says that he just remembered the grave him, Power, and Aki went to go visit, and I'm thinking it might be Himiko's, or I don't know how to say her name, but the girl with the eye patch. I think it was probably that after she died, Aki probably went over there, because I do remember that Power and Denji were at the gravesite, but I don't remember if Aki was there. He says that he remembers that it was cold and he still had being fun, and then you get to see this devil come out of Denji's mouth, and I think it could be Himiko just because it is called title Barf, and if he's saying that he went to go visit, I'm pretty sure they went to go visit her grave, and then we get the Barf reference because she barfed into his mouth, and you can see that we actually have an also panel for once. It's actually just also for once in this chapter, and this whole thing with Denji getting water, I don't know why he decided to drown himself. Maybe he just, even if he was thirsty, I don't know, it's still weird. He could have just, I don't know, maybe he was just like desperate for water or whatever. But then we get to see Rize in this chapter, and I know a lot of people like Rize, so, and then you see Denji over here just drowning and stuff, and then I saw this earlier, but I thought it was from a different chapter, and then you see Denji over here just drowning and stuff, and then I saw this earlier, but I thought it was from a different chapter where he says, all the people I love disappear from my life in the end, every single one. And every person that he actually does care about, his animals, every single person, they eventually did end up leaving him. And it kind of reminds me of BoJack, if you guys seen BoJack Horseman, where everyone kind of just leaves him just because of his self-destructive tendencies. And Denji's nothing like that. It's just Denji has just he just has a very bad life where everyone just dies. In BoJack he's just very self-destructive, and he just pushes it, he pretty much pushes everyone away just because they don't want to be near him because of how bad he is as a person. It kind of gives me that similarities, but they are completely different people just because Denji is dealing with different things. I know BoJack isn't in the Chainsaw Man universe, but it kind of gives me that connection. If you guys have seen BoJack, you guys might know what I'm talking about. And this is the panel that I felt it was very hard to watch just because I do have pets by myself, and then you get to see Nutella. I feel Rize fans, Power fans, I know how you guys feel. You guys want them to come back. Maybe there's a chance. And the same way I feel for Nutella. I feel like she could be back just because I don't know, she was gone too soon from us. Like, she was gone way too soon. And the background music that you're hearing in this video, this is what I was imagining when I was reading this, because I do listen to the Chainsaw Man soundtrack when I'm reading the manga. Nutella was probably my favorite character out of all of Chainsaw Man. Power, Aki, Makima, when they died, I was like, damn, that's tough, I'm gonna keep reading. But then when I saw her die, I'm like, damn, no way. Denji, like, I agree with Denji, with him, like 100%. I would have done the same thing. But yeah, and I've also been watching the series. I'm gonna put it on the screen so you guys know. You guys probably have seen the videos, and if you haven't, I highly recommend go checking them out, because I feel like they give the Chainsaw Man characters like manga accurate personalities, and Nutella is my favorite one out of these videos. That's enough of Nutella. We're gonna move on to the next thing, and then you get to see that Denji says that he's been through a bunch of terrible experiences, and he's like, how did I smile before? And then you can see Pochita, and I seen Pochita again, and he says that Pochita didn't make him eat those devils to make him forget. He barfed them up to make him remember. So he's trying to, you can see that he has a realization, but then you can also see a hand pulling him out of the water. It says yeah, that is just also just right there. I know a lot of fans of also are going to be freaking out because of this little panel right here. I don't know what he means right here where you and Pochita are right, and she's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I've been going through a bunch of bad situations. Nayura, or Nutella that I like, my family, they're all dead. I have a feeling I'll be hopeless for the rest of my life. But then he remembers the sushi that he ate earlier, and the sushi that he's talking about is when they went with that one bar with Katana Man. I forgot what chapter, but I'm gonna put it on screen of whatever chapter that was. And he says that he popped a boner a minute ago too, and I'm pretty sure that's when Yoro was making out with him. And even she's like, oh wait, yeah, like what? Like, even she's shocked by that info. She's like, what? Like, you got a boner? Maybe who knows? Maybe she's like, oh okay, maybe he likes me too, because it was Euro, but then remember that Asa and her kind of share the same body, so it could be transferring feelings or whatever. So maybe she knows, like, oh yeah, Denji does like me. And then right here at the final thing, he says, as long as the world has grub and girls, I still have something to live for. And I like this reflection that we get of him coming out of the water right there, like the little puddle. He's just looking at himself. And then Asa's like, oh, start making sense, because she doesn't know about Denji's motivations. When she meets Denji for the very first time, she does say that he just finds Chainsaw Man a little bit annoying just because he's always saving girls and all that. Having a motivation like that is just something random, because most of the time most people are like, oh yeah, I want to save people, I want to do this, I want to do that. But even then, when he had his family and all that, he was still doing stuff for girls and all that. So even her also is like, what do you mean? Like, she's still confused by it because it's just a weird motivation to have. And Denji says that there's no devil powers that can work here, and then he says this huge devil head was inside of his stomach. So he says the Chainsaw Man's stomach is still out there in the real world, and Pochita's still out there. I'm curious on how Pochita is still out there. Yes, it is his stomach, but if Yoro and Asa were able to get into the devil world, then she was able to transfer devils, and then she hit them with whatever. And then if the aging devil decided to hit them with that finger bang again to send them to that world, then Denji got caught up with it, then shouldn't Pochita be in there as well? But who knows, maybe it's just like a whole physical stomach thing. But then if that's the point, I don't know, this is kind of weird. I feel like it should also work with Yoro and Asa just because they are separate people. So then Yoro has a connection to Asa just because she's been with her and she started liking her and all that, and now their thoughts are becoming one. So I feel like at the end of this saga or something that maybe they might share, and then I feel like she might be more like a power thing where she's a hybrid where she can use her blood powers and all that. And I think Yoro might be gone by the end of this saga, so maybe now Asa's gonna be able to use devil powers just because their minds are interconnecting. But I feel like this, so my original point that I was trying to say is that maybe Yoro could have also used Asa's stomach just because she does, or any part of her, like let's say her leg, because Asa's physical body is still outside and Yoro got sent into the devil world. So maybe if she wanted to get out, she could use Asa as, like, she can use her head or arm or leg or something to use her as a sword, because we've seen her done that before with the spinal cords and all that. I don't know, maybe it just doesn't work. But then at the same time, I don't know, this is a little weird. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below if this should also work, because if Pochita's out there physically in the real world and Asa, you let me know. And then the final thing that Denji says is that this time he's gonna get us, I'll get us out of this world. And you can see Asa just like she's a little confused or like a little shocked, like, oh, what, like, I still don't get what you mean. This week's chapter was a short chapter. It was only 18 pages, so it was like maybe like a, yeah, that's enough of the chapter. There's not really much to discuss with you guys. Rize fans, if you're here, let me know if you were happy to see Rize again. And Power and Aki fans, I know you guys are here. Let me know if there's any of the Tele fans out there and Nayura fans. This aside, my favorite panel from this chapter, I'm gonna try to make this a new thing every time I try to do a chapter review. I'm gonna be giving my favorite panel of the chapter, and my favorite panel is gonna have to go to the Nayura panel just because I love the shading in the forest and all that, and you can see like how far it goes, you can see how the distance, and you can tell that there's a bunch of shading on there, and I really like this panel. Now I'm biased aside, it just looks really nice. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a very short video, but there's not really much to discuss on this just because it was just more flashbacks than anything. And my last thoughts before I end off the video, I think Denji might use the demon heads as like a, or maybe use their power in some way to get out of there. Maybe it's like a Ecomundo thing from Bleach where you can just like tear open the space and just get out of there. Maybe he can just, maybe Yoro can use those heads and make it into a sword and like tear the fabric of that world to get out of there. Maybe it's a situation like that. Those are my final thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I get to see you guys in another chapter review for next week, where we're going to be covering chapter 184. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Alex, and take care.